Yep, dropped my book. I never know how to start my videos. Just say, hey. Okay. Hey guys, it's Anna here and welcome back to my channel with another video. For today's video, I will be doing a book review. I've always wanted to try book reviews, and when I went on my Instagram and asked you guys if you guys want me to review this book that I currently just finished, which is Suicide Notes by Michael Thomas Ford, and surprisingly you guys want me to review on this and like give some comments and see if you guys is it worth the buy. So I purchased this book at Popular bookstore for, I don't remember how much it was because it wasn't a plastic. So I will try not to, oh my god, it's 30. I will try not to give any spoilers for this book because just in case if you guys want to look for this book and want to read for yourself, so I don't want to give any major spoilers or any spoilers. So yeah, I went on my Instagram, asked you guys what you guys want to know about this book, like what do you guys want me to comment on, and a lot of you guys wanted to know the plot, is it worth the read, what did I felt about this book after finished reading it. So I'll explain everything in a moment. So first, I want to tell you guys what this book is about. I have my notes here just in case if I lost my train of thoughts. I have this with me, so thank God. Firstly, I want to read the synopsis at the back. So this book is about a 15-year-old Jeff, which is the main character in this book. Jeff wakes up on New Year's Day and finds himself in the hospital, make that the psychiatric ward. Clearly, there's been a huge mistake. Aside from the bandages on his wrist, there's no reason why Jeff should be here. He's perfectly fine. He doesn't need to spend an hour every day talking to a therapist or acting out skits about feelings with the other teens on the ward. But a funny thing happens as Jeff's 45-day sentence drags on. He realizes he's not as different from his fellow patients as he'd first thought. Compelling, witty, and refreshingly real, Suicide Notes is a darkly comic novel that examines that fuzzy line between normal and the rest of us. Yeah, that's what this book is about. It's about this teenage boy, Jeff. He, like I just read, he woke up in a psychiatric ward all of a sudden. So yeah, if that's not intriguing. Other characters in this book are very interesting. One of the major characters aside from Jeff, which is Dr. How do you pronounce his name? I keep forgetting how to pronounce his name because his name is very funny. Let me see if I can find his name. His name is Dr. Kadzrupus. Kadzrupus. Yes, Dr. Kadzrupus. But Jeff calls him Dr. Catpoop, and I find that very funny. So speaking about funny, this book, they mentioned that this book has a lot of dark humor in it, and I think the writer did that really well. When I'm reading through this book, I was like, yeah, there is a lot of dark humor. And Jeff himself is very interesting because when you read throughout his story in this book, to me, Jeff is very not hot-headed because, you know, the doctor wants him to open up about what happened to him and how he ended up in the psychiatric ward, but he keeps building this wall, or he doesn't want that wall to break. And I find that very like Jeff, can you just open up? You know, I know it's not easy, but just open up because clearly you need help, you know. Other characters in this book, we have Sadie, which is Jeff's close friend in the psychiatric ward, and we have other patients, which is Bone, Juliet, Martha Ranking, the doctor, like I said, Dr. Kadzrupus or Dr. Catpoop, Jeff's parents, his best friend from high school, Alice, and his sister, Amanda. Okay, my initial thought when I first bought this book, before I read the synopsis, of course, the title. I'm a publishing student, like I'm currently doing my degree in publishing. So the first thought when I first saw this book is the cover. And I can remember my lecturer said, oh, if when it comes to books, designing the book or trying to market and sell your book, you do need to judge a book by its cover. So the cover of the book is very important, and this cover was very intriguing. That's why I clearly purchased this book. When I first saw this book, I was like, ooh, suicide notes. What is this about? I didn't really know what to expect inside before I purchased and read the synopsis. One thing about this book that I realized after reading now, because since it came with a plastic, so you can't, on the shelf it came with a plastic, so you can't open and read it a little, just to you know, be more curious about the book. I feel like it should comes with a trigger warning, because there are some words in here and some parts of the story that was very, I feel like it could be very triggering for some people, because I don't want to give spoilers, but there was a part where the writer kind of like show what happened to him and how he explained what happened to Jeff, the main character. It is very triggering. I feel like, whoa, this is kind of, you know, it's gonna make some people who are going through what he's going through a bit overwhelmed, I guess you can say. So because when I read the part where the writer explained what happened to Jeff, I kind of teared up a little, and I was like, ooh, I felt very overwhelmed, and I was like, okay, this book really needs a trigger warning when you purchase the book. I feel like if you are going through something and you can easily get triggered by some things, just be aware with this book. That's all I just have to say. Yeah. What else? The plot twist. Oh. Okay, so the chapters in this book is named by the days, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So it actually, you're reading through every day that Jeff's in the hospital. So day 1, how he was feeling and in day 1, and what's happening in day 1, and what's happening in day 2, what's happening in day 3, all the way up to day 45, because his sentence in the psychiatric ward was a 45-day session. When I read through, the writer did a really good job in keeping what exactly happened to him hidden. So of course you have to read through till finish until you know what exactly happened and how he ended up in the psychiatric ward to begin with. When I got to the plot twist, when I got to the chapter where the writer finally explained, oh, this is what happened and how he ended up in the psychiatric ward, I immediately thought back the previous chapters, and there were some parts that kind of hinted out what actually happened to Jeff and how he ended up in the psychiatric ward. When I got to that chapter, I was like, oh, no wonder he's like that. No wonder this thing happened to Jeff, you know? I don't want to tell what happened because that would totally spoil you the whole story. But when the plot twist came, I kind of knew, like, there was a little feeling inside of me, kind of knew, like, oh, okay, no wonder he's like this, like, oh, okay. Because when you think back on the previous chapters, there were hints and little gist of the whole story, of the whole plot. So I feel like that was very good of the writer. There were a few parts throughout the whole book. There was, like, I think around 5 parts where you think back in the previous chapters leading up to the plot twist, and when you think back, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no wonder the main character Jeff is like that. No wonder he did what he did. To me, the writing, it was a very easy flow for you to understand the story, the plot, and everything, because the storyline moved very smooth and you can understand the story very easily. I feel like there was no plot holes or major plot change, but the plot twist, like I said, it's very surprising. Every chapter, I feel like it just captures you in, and you want to know more about what happened, and you want to know more about each character. Speaking of characters, the writer really did a good job in introducing each characters nicely, and I feel like as the story goes, as you go into more chapters into the story, the characters really grow on you. And there was one character where you're going to be really bummed out. Like I said, I don't want to give any spoilers, so there was this one character which I was very heartbroken of what happened to the specific character. Not Jeff, this is another kind of a major character also. In the end, if you want to know what happened, you gotta read the book, bro. You gotta read the book. The most interesting character in this book would be... Actually, Jeff himself is already an interesting character because his sarcasm is just very like, you just wanna... To me, his sarcasm is just like, okay, dude, like I get it. You don't want to be here, but you know, you got yourself in there, so might as well just get through it. That's my take on it. He's not hot-headed. He's very... Okay, wait, I'm just gonna Google. Jeff is very stubborn. Oh my god, he's very stubborn. That's the word I was looking for. Oh my god. To me, Jeff is very stubborn because the doctor and his parents are just trying to get help for him, but he's very stubborn. He doesn't want to be there, but he's there. So yeah, and like I said, his sarcasm is just over the top. When you read it, it's just funny. It's like, okay, dude, okay. So that's my take on it. Also, one thing I want to point out for this book, that I'm kind of like disappointed a little bit, because I feel like the writer didn't really describe how Jeff looks like. So you would have to imagine how he looks like yourself. We only know he's a 15-year-old boy, so... and his friends in the hospital are mostly around his age, so probably like 15 up to 17-ish, because there's this one character called Bone. I think he's older. He did describe a little, like there's this one part where he kind of mentioned how the doctor looks like. He looked very messy with his hair, something like that. Like he describes only a little of how they look, so you would have to imagine how each characters look like. But in the beginning of the story, where Jeff first went into the group session, when he first met other patients, he did describe a little on how they look like how Sadie looks like, how Bone look like, and other minor characters. So yeah, lastly, some of you guys asked me how this book made me feel after finish reading it, and honestly, I think this book is really interesting. Like I said, from the title itself, Suicide Notes, I feel like it's like different from the whole story, because I thought in here there would be suicide notes, even though there's one. But yeah, it's not about suicide notes, but it's basically about suicide in a way. I feel like the author did a really good job in showing how and like explaining how the psychiatric hospital is and how therapy is, even though he did say in his additional notes that it is not a perfect representation or a perfect reflection of what therapy is, but he has to bend the rules a little bit in order to fit his storyline. So it's definitely, for me, it's definitely worth the read, because not only you get to know what happened to Jeff, but I feel like you have an open mind about mental health itself, because yeah, this book is about mental health. The characters in here, the other patients, which is in the psychiatric ward with Jeff, you get to know a little of what they're going through and why, like the main reason they're in the psychiatric ward, just like Jeff is. And lastly, I want to add, the author in the end put notes, like his own notes. He basically explained how he came up with this book and this story, the idea behind it. He explained that this book is kind of what he went through, and he answered some questions that fans have been asking him, like some relatable questions that Jeff is going through. He relates so much, like his life relates so much to this book, and that's why he wrote and published this book. And I just realized that this book is actually 10 years. It has been 10 years since this book published, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is the new version. The cover is a new version because I googled this book and it has a different cover design. I feel like if Netflix were suddenly to take this book and become a Netflix series, I think it would be cool. Netflix would probably do a good job. It would probably either be a movie, a probably 2-hour movie, or a one lengthy series, because I don't think you can splice this up into like 5 season, I mean. So yeah, if Netflix were to take this and make it into a movie or a series, it would be probably cool. It'll be something like 13 Reasons Why, only the first season, because the second, third, and fourth season were... If you guys find this book interesting and intriguing and it just spikes your curiosity, do go find it and give it a read, because I feel like it's a really good book to have on your free time if you guys want to start reading. If you guys want to purchase it, I think you can find it in any bookstore, Popular, MPH, anywhere. I'm sure you'll have this book, Suicide by Michael Thomas Ford. So yeah, that is all from my review video today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do more reviews on any kinds of books. I would be gladly to do them, because this is my first review. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I feel like I did a good job and I really want to do more videos like this in the future. So please let me know in the comments if you guys want to watch, if you want to see more of this kind of videos, and subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!